A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. The very first one about the present status in situation in Jammu and Kashmir regarding the season. What does it say? Severe cold spell. We have already got the expression cold spell, severe. Severe, we can also think of acute. Acute pain means severe pain. And here, severe cold spell. Generally, we use the expression dry spell. Imagine for some time no rains, then what do we say? Dry spell. But here it talks about cold spell, means what? Severe cold. That's what you have to think. Jammu and Kashmir CM to monitor services from Srinagar. This is the pic of Dal Lake and it's about cold spell in Jammu and Kashmir. Only one expression you have to remember. Next one, whenever you talk about rains, no rain for a long time, we say dry spell, then it results in drought, D-R-O-U-G-H-T. Drought is also an important word you have to, exactly, very good. Center's assurance, transit camp residents may get home soon. Transit camp, one expression here. Residents may get home soon, another word, though we have got many a time. And here, transit means transportation, movement from one place to another place. And transit place or transit camp. In a way, for the time being, you can take it that way also. They are going to get homes. House, home, we have got many a time. What is the next snippet? Israel's siege of Gaza, an important word. Means what? Surround. Surround a particular place we use siege. And seize is different. Seize, Z spelling, to grab something using force. That's a different word altogether. Airstrikes hit school near hospital, killed 28. You can see the pic over here. All that is nothing but we use the word rubble. Imagine a particular building gets demolished and whatever you see at the ground level, for that what is the word? Rubble. That's what you see here. Data point, fiscal evolution of Odisha. RBI article analyzes the state's journey from 2000 to 2024. It is about a particular state and all the words are simple words. You have to recollect the word raise. Hard at work. India hits the nets with gusto. There is one important word. Do something with gusto means do with a lot of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm and energy. Then we use the word gusto. An important word you have to remember. What is the main headline? India Kuwait lift ties to strategic partnership. India Kuwait, both the countries have good ties and they lift their ties to strategic partnerships. There is one important word, strategic. Strategic studies, it has got two different meanings. One meaning, you are preparing for, that is true, you are preparing for competitive exams and you need a strategy to crack the exam, a plan. But here when we say strategic studies, it deals with the defense related aspects. That also you have to know. Here we have row after arrest of terror suspects in West Bengal. We have got the word row many a time. Row means what? A dispute. A dispute or a fight or an argument, a row. Row has many meanings. As a verb, it also goes with the boats. You move the boats with oars, that is rowing. As a noun, a row of people or anything for that matter. We have another headline, new snippet over here. Can't intimidate India to conform, says Jai Shankar. There are two words over here. One is intimidate. I have given this word many a time. Intimidate, a regular verb. Intimidation, a noun form. Intimidate means to frighten someone. Usually the sources of intimidation, power, authority, wealth, money, style, English, all these intimidate other people, frighten other people. Rowing, that's what I have said. And we have another word, conform. Here you have to be careful with the spelling. CONFORM. Conform means to stick to something, adhere to something, follow something. But regular word CONFIRM, confirm the news, means make it authentic. Both the words you have to know for sure. What else do we have here? Centre should overhaul GST regime, says Congress. There are two words. It is a stand taken by the Congress party, and it says there should be a total revamp of the GST regime. That means here we have the word overhaul. Means what? Complete transformation, revamp, revitalize, and rearrange or do something completely, thoroughly. And also we have a combination here, GST regime. I've told you guys many a time the word regime goes with, regime means the government, usually authoritative. But when we say tax regime, GST regime, here regime means a system. GST system, tax regime, tax system. That meaning also you have to know, otherwise you get confused. Here we have a pic, doesn't look very good, rather depressing. In search of life. Generally we use this expression, in search of life. Man has been curious since times immemorial about life outside the planet Earth. Man has been searching life, extraterrestrial life. And regarding extraterrestrial life, we use the expression in search of life. In search of life where? Outside the planet Earth, in space, in the universe. But this talks about a particular place on the planet Earth. What does it say? Here we have Ground Zero. Rescue operations continued on Sunday after a multi-story building collapsed at Sohana village in Mohali district of Punjab on Saturday evening. 2 people were killed in the accident. This is what I used the word, if you remember, rubble. When a building collapses or a building gets demolished, whatever you see, that is nothing but rubble. That word you have to know for sure. All this is rubble, collapsed building. And 2 people were killed in the accident. It is past tense, passive voice. We have another headline over here. Congress seeks further probe by Supreme Court in Pegasus case after US court holds Israeli group liable. There are 2 words over here. I'm sure all of you know. Probe. Probe goes with investigation and police usually. And another word, further, immediately. Someone has already responded. I appreciate that. Farther, further. FARTHER talks about distance. FURTHER talks about in addition to something. She has gone to the US for further studies. They have given in many exams, many a time. Shimla is farther than Delhi from Bombay. Talks about the distance. And we have one word here, liable. Liable means legally answerable. Liable to answer the questions. That is one meaning. Liability has a different meaning. Liable, one meaning, a legal term you can take. And liability, legally there is an obligation, one meaning. But sometimes what happens, someone depends on you. Initially you feel okay, you help that person, but after some time, though you don't want to help, you have to help. The situation calls for giving a helping hand. Then you say he has become a liability, or she has become a liability. In a way, it is something like a burden. What is the other meaning? Burden. Accountable. Yes, of course. 2 different meanings. That's what I said. You are liable to answer. Means what? You are accountable. You have to answer the questions. But liability has 2 different meanings. One meaning a burden. Another meaning a legal term. Here it goes with responsible. Any other headline we have? Half of MGNREGS sites inspected in West Bengal showed flaws. We have got this word many a time. RTI reply. It's about the flaws in implementing the government scheme. Flaw means mistakes. And we use the expression flawless. And I always tell students, no one is infallible in this world. Infallible also means flawless. No one is infallible in this world. No one is perfect in this world. Everyone makes mistakes. It matters. The degree matters. That's all about the news from today's paper. Let us go to the editorial analysis. Today's editorial, there's so much to learn, and let us see how it goes about. But before we go to the editorial vocabulary, the first thing we touch usually, a pertinent question: what is the enrichment? You're going to improve first editorial analysis, vocabulary, grammar consolidation. You're going to improve your reading comprehension skill, and these are the questions I have brought. Besides, you develop contextual awareness, and have brought questions, mini mocks, useful from any competitive exam point of view, based on the exam topics, and in a way you consolidate what you got the previous day. It is like two benefits. Let us start with editorial vocabulary. And today I have added one more dimension. What is that dimension? Word usage. Word forms, word combinations, word usage. These three are very important, higher level. If you are good at these three dimensions, and some of these have become exam topics, you have the competitive edge. What is the first one? It is an idiomatic expression. Pie in the sky. First of all, many Indians don't know because it is not part of our culture. The word pie is part of Western culture. It is like a cake, apple pie. They make pies with different fruits, Americans, and they relish a lot. Apple pie, mango pie, pineapple pie. It's like a dish, a cake. Here, pie in the sky, part of speech idiom, meaning a promise of something that is unlikely to happen. You cannot expect a pie in the sky. Literally, if you want to analyze, that is not possible. So, something that is not pragmatic, something that is not practical, a promise of something that is unlikely to happen, an unrealistic or impractical hope or idea. Example: the promise of free education for everyone seems like pie in the sky. Usually, we use a verb. Looks like, seems like. Then what is it? Pie in the sky, considering the current economic situation. Imagine the country is going through recession. A recession means what? A low economic activity. Then the country talks about providing free education to everyone. That is like a pie in the sky. Means what? Something not realistic, not practical, not pragmatic. This is the new edition. Please have a look, listen. Before that, word forms. When it comes to an idiomatic expression, nothing. No word forms, nothing. Whatever words you have to use based on the tense. Coming to word usage, a new feature, typically used to express skepticism or disbelief about unrealistic promises or plans. When do we use this? When someone says something, you doubt that person. Skepticism means what? Doubting. You doubt something, or you feel something is not going to happen, something is not practical. In that context, you use pie in the sky. Context is also very important, word usage. And word combinations. Pie in the sky promise, seems like pie in the sky, looks like also you can say, pie in the sky idea. Synonyms: unrealistic hope, impractical idea, illusion. Someone has mentioned illusion, very good. Antonyms: a realistic goal, practical idea. Do remember, a person who is good at English knows all these dimensions. When you take a particular word, this is something very important. Mere meaning is of no use. No, both are different. Seek means to look for, search for. See means obvious, looks like. Both are entirely different. And you have to know these dimensions from the exam point of view. Ratify, it goes with, it's a legal term. It also goes with polity. Part of speech verb. It's a regular verb, ratified, meaning to formally approve or confirm something, especially an agreement or treaty. Usually it goes with a treaty, it goes with an agreement. Many countries agree, then we use the word, the resolution has been ratified. An important word. The treaty was ratified by both countries last year. This is what I was talking about. It goes at the country level, different countries, convention, conference, meet, and then a treaty has been ratified. Here, word forms ratify, regular verb, ratification, noun form, ratifiable, adjective form. This form you have to remember. Word usage used in legal, political, and formal context. That is very important. Not informal, formal. Many language learners, they don't know where to use a word. Sometimes they use a formal word in an informal context, an informal word in a formal context. That is not acceptable. Those who are really good at English, those who speak impeccable English or flawless English, they know how to use the words. They use formal words in a formal situation, informal words in an informal situation. This is also very important. Word combinations ratify a treaty, ratified unanimously, require ratification. Ratifiable document, you can use that combination as well. Synonyms approve, endorse, validate. These two words you have to remember. Antonyms reject, disapprove. This is an important word. Annul. There are two words you have to recollect based on that. One is annals, and we also use the synonym of that, chronicles. And what is the other word in this context? Look at the spellings. Annals, chronicles, both mean the same. To make a note of incidents or events based on the time concept. Not based on the time concept, we use archives, not archives, archives. Very good. And here the other word, annul, annul, that is different. Annul, null and void, to make something null and void. Remember null, annul. And the idiomatic expression, to make something null and void, important. They have given in many exams. Curtail. Curtail we have got many a time. And what part of speech is that? It's a regular verb. Curtail, curtailed, curtailed. Part of speech verb. Meaning to reduce in extent or quantity, to impose a restriction on. Generally, the word curtail goes with restriction. Curtail means control, contain, or restrict. The government decided to curtail unnecessary expenses. Usually, the word curtail goes with rights, privileges, expenses. Look at the word forms, curtailment, noun form. Word usage commonly used in context of restrictions or reductions. Restrictions are what? Privileges, rights, expenditure, expenses. Those combinations also you have to know. Word combinations, curtail expenses, as I said, privileges or freedom, curtail activities. Curtail movement also we can say. Curtail someone's movement means what? Restrict their movement. And synonyms, reduce, limit, restrict, simple words, expand, increase, extend, again simple words. Dissolve. This goes with polity. Part of speech verb, meaning to officially end or disband something, such as an organization or assembly. Assembly has been dissolved. When you read the newspapers, you come across that sentence. Example, the board decided to dissolve the committee after its objectives were achieved. Imagine there is a particular board and they have instituted a committee, and the committee met the objectives. Then the board decides to dissolve the committee, bring it to an end. Word forms, dissolution, noun form, dissolvable, adjective. But it also goes with chemistry. You dissolve something in water, you dissolve something in liquid. Word usage often used in legal, organizational, chemical context. This is what I was talking about. You take a chemical, you dissolve it in water. Some chemicals can be dissolved, some chemicals cannot be dissolved. Word combinations, dissolve parliament, dissolve partnership, goes with organizations. Synonyms, disband, an important word. Terminate, you all know, I'm sure. But disperse, I don't accept in this context, because disperse means to spread out. Generally, friends, when they meet, they spend some time, they talk together. After some time, someone may say, let us disperse, means let us get scattered, a different meaning altogether. Establish, form, unite, simple words. Militate, we have got the word mitigate many a time, so you have got to be careful. That is a different thing, that goes with chemistry. That's what I've said, it also goes with chemistry, Uday Kumar. English has, every word has 3 or 4 meanings. Based on the context, you have to use the correct meaning. And only a person who is good at English knows all the meanings, like primary, secondary, tertiary. Don't go with one meaning, you'll be in trouble. Here, we all know the word mitigate, we have got many a time. Mitigate means what? Reduce. But what is the word here? Militate. And we also know the word militancy. From that we get this one. Part of speech verb meaning to have a strong effect in opposing or preventing something. To have a strong effect in opposing or preventing something. Example, the lack of funding may militate against the success of the project, may have a negative impact. Word forms, militancy, a familiar word form. Militant also a familiar word form, it goes with a person. Word usage used to describe factors or actions that work against a plan or goal. Something that goes with the establishment or a plan or a goal, we use the word militate. Word combinations, militate against, militate for. Synonyms, oppose, hinder, resist, support, favor, aid. Simple words. Ostensible, we have got a few times. Part of speech, adjective. Meaning, stated or appearing to be true but not necessarily so. Sometimes certain things seem to be true but may not be true. Then we use the term ostensible. His ostensible reason for leaving was to spend more time with family, but everyone knew it was due to work pressure. It looked like he wanted leave to spend time with his family, but actual reason is what? He could not take the work pressure. So ostensible reason. Word forms, ostensibly adverb. Word usage, used to describe appearances that may not reflect reality. Something that does not reflect the true identity of something, we use the word ostensible. Word combinations, ostensible purpose, this is a typical combination, reason. And claim also you can use. Synonyms, apparent, supposed, superficial. Apparent, we also use the word obvious. Antonyms, genuine, real, authentic. I think I could not change this one, the lack of time. The word is what here? Subsume. What is the word? Next word, subsume. That is also an important word. Part of speech, verb. Present participle of subsume, if you use ing form. Meaning to include or absorb something into a larger or more comprehensive entity. Imagine there is a big entity, big organization, and some other organization is taken into that, then we say it has been subsumed by the big organization. Look at the example. The new policy subsumes all previous regulations on the matter. Means all the previous regulations do not hold good. Word form, subsume, verb, subsumption, noun form. This you have to remember. Word usage, used in context of merging or integrating entities. Superficial, negative, what do you mean by that? Here, word combinations, subsume under, into, subsume categories, absorb, incorporate, include, separate, exclude, isolate. The antonyms are usually easy. You got to focus on the synonyms. I guess that is the last word. Yes. Now let us go to what exactly is the pie in the sky. That means what is this about, the editorial? It is about simultaneous elections, an important article. Mark my words, you will get in the exam in some form or other. This is a topic in the limelight, goes with polity. Pie in the sky, something that is not practical, not going to happen. On the idea of simultaneous elections. As I said, what is pie in the sky? Superficial, yes, of course, it can be, it is usually negative. Something is superficial, not positive, negative. Profound is positive. Main idea, the simultaneous elections idea is a non-starter. This is also an important expression you have to remember. Non-starter means not going to happen, hasn't started in a way. When you come across something like this, simultaneous elections, then you have to, because India is a quasi-federal country. What is the expression I've just used? People say quasi. Quasi is not correct. Quasi-federal. If you take the world, we have two systems. One is unitary, the other one federal. Unitary means all the powers are vested with the center. And federal means the powers are vested with the states. India is neither unitary nor federal. So we use the term quasi-federal. Means certain lists go with the center, certain lists go with the states. Partially unitary, partially federal. And this talks about, and when you see, okay, this editorial is about simultaneous elections, you have to think elections for the entire country, elections for states, elections for municipalities. But here it talks more about simultaneous elections that go with the country level and also state level. And broad framework should be, what are the limitations? Why does it start with a negative statement like pie in the sky? And what are the limitations? Could be political, could be social, could be economic, conducting the election simultaneously, whether it is feasible, not feasible. These are the dimensions, and what are the consequences, repercussions, because India is quasi-federal. If they go for simultaneous elections, in a way, the power may go into the hands of the center. That possibility is there. Apprehensions, all these things are to be touched. This also touches all these dimensions. With the union government introducing two bills in the Lok Sabha to implement its idea of simultaneous elections to the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies, the stage is set, an important expression. The stage is set for Parliament to debate the feasibility. Feasibility means what? Practicality of something. Or otherwise, of the idea of what the government calls one nation, one election. The current regime, incumbent government wants simultaneous elections, and why do they want it and what exactly, how are they projecting that one? One nation, one election. With the opposition pressing on a division of votes on the introduction of the bill, 263 for and 198 against. With the opposition pressing on a division of votes on the introduction of the bill, 263 for and 198 against, the writing on the wall was clear. Another important expression, the writing on the wall is clear, was clear, means what? The message is clear. What is that clear message? When you continue reading, you get an idea. The government does not have the two-thirds majority in Parliament to pass the constitutional amendments to facilitate simultaneous elections. Because of the numbers, one thing has become crystal clear, the writing on the wall is clear. What is it? The government does not have the two-thirds majority. The government does not have the two-thirds majority in Parliament to pass the constitutional amendments. Government needs two-thirds majority, does not have, to facilitate simultaneous elections. A 39-member House panel will examine the two bills. What is the impact of that? 39-member House panel has been instituted, and that House panel will examine the two bills. The content in the bills themselves are in line with the recommendations of a committee headed by former President of India Ramnath Kovind that envisaged simultaneous Lok Sabha and Assembly elections as a first step. The two bills, what do they deal with? They are in line with earlier recommendation, in line with the recommendations of a committee headed by the former President of India that envisaged. The committee envisaged something. Envisage means what? Visualize. Simultaneous Lok Sabha and Assembly elections as the first step, followed by what? By municipal and panchayat polls within 100 days of the general election. There are two levels here. One, the center, entire country, general election, and the state elections one time, simultaneous. After that, the lower level municipalities and panchayat polls within 100 days of general election. For the amendments to conduct municipal elections, they would have to be ratified by at least half of the state assemblies. There is a condition again. When it comes to the lower level, first the general election, then the state level, then the municipal and panchayat, there is a clause, there is a condition. What is that condition? 50% of the state assemblies should ratify. Here, they would have to be ratified by at least half of the state assemblies, means 50% approval is required. This is the first part. Let us see what the second part talks about. The Constitution Amendment Bill seeks to add a new provision that will provide for the timeline for simultaneous elections. And as per the wording in the bill, this could happen only in 2034 unless the Lok Sabha terms prior to that are curtailed for some reason. A bit difficult to understand, but in a nutshell, what does it mean? The Constitution Amendment Bill seeks to add a new provision. What is that new provision? That will provide for the timeline for simultaneous elections. And there should be a timeline for simultaneous elections. A particular year has to be fixed. And as per the wording in the bill, what is that timeline? This could happen only in 2034. A long way to go. 2034, almost a decade. Unless the Lok Sabha terms prior to that are curtailed for some reason. The Lok Sabha terms are curtailed for some reason, means restricted for some reason. It may not happen, it may change. Otherwise, likely to happen in 2034. Other provisions echo the Coven Committee recommendations. What were the recommendations? For example, if a state assembly gets dissolved before 5 years of its term, after the appointed date for simultaneous elections, the date for synchronizing Lok Sabha and Assembly elections, fresh midterm elections will be held, but the new Assembly will not have a full 5-year tenure. All these are problems associated with simultaneous elections, especially at the state level. General elections, there is no issue. But to make the state level elections, the general elections, coincide, some problems are there. This sentence talks about that particular problem. Here it says, elections will be held, but the new assembly will not have a full 5-year tenure. Its tenure will end 5 years from the appointed date. Whatever the appointed date, from that date, 5 years it will end. The bill also provides the Election Commission the option to defer or not hold assembly elections to a particular state. Election Commission has some powers. What are those powers? The option to postpone or not hold assembly elections at all to a particular state. But the full term of that assembly will still coincide with that of the Lok Sabha elections. The two dates, they have to coincide. That is very important. That is no. What is that question, Uday Kumar? Before you ask a question, you think and ask. I being based on proficiency in English, not based on whether it is going to happen, not going to happen. That is irrelevant here. Don't ask those questions. Why should I bring if it is not going to happen? How is it related to my analysis? Whatever analysis we do here, purely objective, not subjective. And that too from proficiency in English point of view. Something is going to happen, I bring. Something is not going to happen, so I bring. That is sheer nonsense. Raise your level of thinking. When you ask questions, make sure your questions are sensible, mature enough. Not casually asking, no, don't ask silly questions. Don't waste precious time. These provisions are anti-federal. All these provisions go against the federal spirit, federal nature, anti, and you have to recollect another prefix I've given many a time. ANTE means what? Before. ANTI means what? Against. So anti-federal spirit means they go against the states. The idea of conducting multiple elections to an assembly before the stipulated 5-year period also militates against the ostensible rationale provided for the idea of introducing simultaneous elections. This is a bit difficult to understand. Comprehension point of view, a challenging editorial. You have to read twice, thrice. The idea of conducting multiple elections to an assembly before the stipulated 5-year period also militates against some sort of objection, the ostensible rationale. Something seems to be the reason but may not be the actual reason, provided for the idea of introducing simultaneous elections. What is that ostensible reason? Cost cutting. One of the reasons the center must have cited, simultaneous elections, we can save a lot of money. Cost cutting can be done. But if they have to conduct twice or thrice for state assemblies, that incurs, obviously, they have to spend money. It is like counterproductive or not in line with this idea of cost cutting. Goes against that idea. The idea of federalism, sharing power at different levels of governance, is tied to the exclusive importance and roles demarcated to them. That's why we call it federal in nature. Elections are a way for voters to exercise their specific concerns related to these different levels of government. Why different dates? Why boomerang? It may boomerang. Very good. Who is that? Naidu and Nagesh. Exactly. And when we have different dates and the public, they can express their views or support whatever based on the administration, and they can take a call. But simultaneous that exercise they may not be able to use or do. By subsuming the electoral cycles, here we have cycles, electoral cycles, by merging them into this idea may not have a positive impact. Into one time frame, the idea of simultaneous elections has a potential to diminish the importance of each tier, each tier means each level. Importance may get diminished, means may get reduced, which is also in line with the centralizing tendencies of the BJP NDA regime. This is a stand taken by the editorial. It is, what does the editorial say? It says this tendency, there is a tendency to take the power, grab the power from the states, and this tendency goes with the incumbent government or the current regime, BJP NDA regime. This is the opinion of the editorial. This makes it imperative, crucial, important for those committed to federalism. If the incumbent government tries to take power into its hands, it goes against the spirit of federalism. And those who are committed to federalism, they may not accept that. This makes it imperative for those committed to federalism to steadfastly oppose this idea. Steadfastly means firmly oppose this idea. They have to, they will, obviously. Those who believe in federalism, they will oppose any move that goes against federalism. That is understood, quite obvious. I think it ends on that note. Yes. Now let us go to questions based on this editorial. First question is based on summary. May not be directly, but in a way. What is the central critique of the one nation, one election proposal in the editorial? How can you summarize the editorial, one nation, one election? You have to, not that difficult when you look at the options. It lacks the necessary parliamentary support. It undermines federal principles and governance. It increases the cost of elections. It delays the electoral process indefinitely. We are talking about the spirit of federalism. It undermines, it weakens the spirit of federalism. Inference based, according to the editorial, why does the proposal of simultaneous elections face challenges? What inference can you draw based on the editorial regarding challenges likely to be faced by the general election, by one nation, simultaneous elections? Election Commission lacks resources? No. Constitutional amendments require a 2/3 majority. States have unanimously opposed. Lok Sabha elections are already synchronized with assemblies. No. What is the answer here? 2/3 majority required, and the incumbent government does not have that. Detail-based question means explicit. What is one of the key provisions in the Constitution Amendment Bill for simultaneous elections? Municipal elections will be held every 3 years? No. Fresh midterm elections will result in a full 5-year term. Assembly elections can be deferred, but most must align with Lok Sabha elections. A bit difficult. Lok Sabha elections can be extended indefinitely. Answer should be C. Very good. Manisha first one, then Naidu and Sanjaya also. C is the answer. Title based. Which alternative title best captures the editorial's perspective on the simultaneous elections proposal? What could be the appropriate title? The constitutional road to reform? No. A federal dilemma, one nation, one election seems to be right. Cost cutting and governance, a success story. Empowering the states through synchronization? No. States may lose their powers. Based on that, it should be B. A federal dilemma, one nation, one election. Analytical question. Which argument from the editorial could best support? Nowadays, bank exams are giving which statement, which option will strengthen, which option will weaken. Very important. Synchronize means happening at the same time. The view that simultaneous elections promote centralization. Election cycles provide state-specific governance opportunities. A unified timeline diminishes the distinctiveness of governance levels. Federal governance is inefficient. We cannot say that. (5A). What is A? Election cycles provide state-specific governance opportunities. Here, a particular idea promotes elections centralization. Answer should be not A, it is B. Look at the question carefully. Which argument from the editorial could best support the view that simultaneous elections promote centralization? The key word here, centralization. If centralization happens, what is the impact? A unified timeline diminishes the distinctiveness of governance levels. It should be B. Tone-based question. What is the tone of the editorial towards a proposal of simultaneous elections? Supportive and optimistic? No. Neutral and informative? No. In a way, because the editorial has taken a stand, it is critical and skeptical. Pie in the sky, that itself says there is an element of doubt whether it is going to happen or not. Answer is C. Now we have questions based on exam topics. Based on the editorial we got on Saturday. You have to recollect and try to answer carefully. The winter session of the 18th Lok Sabha was marked by between the government and the opposition, resulting in reduced productivity. Resulting in reduced productivity is a clue for you. It talks about a negative context, negative impact. You have to choose a negative word. You cannot say camaraderie, means friendship, understanding. It's a positive word. Collaboration, positive word. Harmony, positive word. Acrimonious means what? Bitter. Answer is B. Negative context, negative word. Which word is the closest in meaning to absurd? Absurd behavior, absurd statement, absurd role means what? Rational? No. Profound? No. Answer is ridiculous. Absurd means only one word you can think of. What is that word? Ridiculous. Antonym, choose a word opposite in meaning to productive. Productive is a positive word. They want a negative word. Effective, positive word. Fruitful, positive word. Constructive, positive word. Inefficient, so an easy one, should not be that difficult. Word usage. Identify the correct usage of the word couple from the options below. The word is couple. In 4 sentences it has been used. In which sentence it has been used properly? The team won the match with a scuffle strategy. A minor scuffle broke out between the protesters and the police. This seems right. Hold this one. The teacher scuffled the test papers. No. He scuffled his way. No. So what is the answer? A minor scuffle broke out between the soldiers of the 2 countries. Or a minor scuffle broke out between the protesters and the police. Perfect. Idioms and phrases. It is par for the course. Par for the course. Par for the course means what? Not that easy. Unusual event, a standard occurrence, a mistaken judgment, a missed opportunity. I'll wait for your response because not easy. It is not A. Let one more student respond. Answer is B. Par for the course means standard occurrence. No, B is the answer. Scrambled sentence, you have 4 parts of a sentence. You have to get the correct order. Six A. Oh, wonderful. Very good. Who is that? Murthy within no time. Soumya, Sanjaya, all these students. How does it go? The escalating conflict. Escalating means going up. Between the treasury and opposition on the penultimate day of the session led to a heated scuffle. Very good, I appreciate. Here we have 4 idioms, 4 meanings. You have to match idioms and meanings. Beat around the bush means what? Avoiding the main issue. So here too. Stick to one's guns means what? Refuse to change one's stance. Turn the tables. Reverse the situation in someone's favor. Lay into someone means criticize harshly. Based on that, what do you have? 2, 4, 3, 1. That is the answer. That is the last one, I suppose. Yes. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched and touched the dimensions, especially word forms, word combinations, word usage, synonyms, antonyms. Exam point of view, they're very important. And I do 6 out of 7. Very good. I appreciate. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.